Alrighty, just gonna respond to a couple comments from some fucking atheists there. Am I trying to justify slavery? Okay, I am not a psycho that wants slaves, not a racist, nothing like that, okay? But in the time of the Bible, once again, no welfare, lots of poor people. They were in the desert with nothing. No low-income housing. Nothing. No homeless shelter. No soup kitchens. So, in order for people to survive, they had to become slaves. Basically, they would work for the person. They would get clothing, housing, and food, stuff like this. It wasn't a bad thing like we see it today. If it was not for slavery back then, all of the people who did not own a house there, they would all be dead. It's thanks to slavery that millions of people were able to live back then, straight up. Andy's True told me it says in the Bible, servants, be subject to your masters with fear. Just like you have to fear God, same thing. You fear your parents when you're a kid. You fear your teachers at school. You fear your boss at work. When they give you crap, you get scared and you listen. Basically, it's listen. That's what it is. Fear, a God-fearing Christian means that you're going to listen to what they say there. And if you're not afraid of the law, for example, you might rape people and do something. But if you're afraid of the authority, then you're not going to break the law, shit like this. That's, you know, every kind of authority has a little bit of fear-mongering going on with it there. Why couldn't God create soup kitchens and welfare? Why wouldn't he wipe your ass on top of it? Other comments mixed with this there. Why would God allow different classes? Why can't we all be equal? That way we wouldn't be homeless and they wouldn't have needed slaves back then. Well, according to the book, God started off by giving man paradise on earth. But then Adam and Eve fucked it up. Okay? And then God sent them out and they had to take care of themselves, basically. But is that really how we would want it? That God, you know, just shows up like the atheists say there. Atheists want God to just appear, tell them everything they have to do so that they can believe or whatever. But, you know, they say life is a test. What kind of test would that be? If God just gives you a house and food, and, you know, it wouldn't be much of a test. You got to live, laugh. Are you going to make the right choices or the bad choices? Because if it's just, okay, if God would just give us everything, you know, what's the point of heaven if everything is perfect on earth? In order to have everything perfect, which is supposed to be heaven, we have to do good here first. So, you know, why would God just give us everything right off the bat? Plus, it would contradict the stuff with Adam and Eve. The Bible rips off other religions. Now, when God created Adam and Eve, created the earth, all of that time passed, and then he met Moses, and the Bible started to get written. During all of that time, there was a lot of humans, and they created different religions. And they talk about some of those false religions at the time in the Bible. Okay, so just because they had religions first doesn't mean that theirs is real and that the Bible is a ripoff, okay? For example, let's say that the Bible is false and there's a god called Troy, let's say, and God Troy appears at your place. It's real. And he says, I'm God. I have the heaven and I have the sun. Okay? And then you tell people, hey man, God Troy, heaven, he has a son. And then people would say, that's bullshit. You're just ripping off the Bible. So that means that God Troy is fake. Well, it's the same kind of thing here. Just because there was other gods before it was written about Yahweh doesn't mean that those gods are real and that Yahweh is fake. And oh, Jesus looks like this and that. Big time atheists that make a lot of money with the whole atheist scam there. They all pretty much agree that Jesus existed. They don't try to dispute it. There's historical evidence to back up Jesus. And they just claim that he was not the Son of God. Well, if he was or not the Son of God, the stories of Jesus were written about Jesus, the guy that was here, that people don't debate his existence. They just debate his godhood or whatever. But those stories in the Bible were based off of a real human that existed called Jesus. It's not ripping off a sun god. Nothing like that from Egypt. You know, people make vids, I've seen a shit ton of this, where they piece things together to try to match it with Jesus and other stuff. And if you have to piece something together like that, usually it's because you're full of garbage, okay? But the stories of Jesus were based on Jesus. And, you know, the idea of a God, of course, you know, other people can have ideas of a God, okay? So it doesn't mean that the Bible is wrong because there was other religions and stuff like this, and some of those gods had sons and stuff like this. Doesn't mean that God is fake. Alrighty, till next time. Peace.